Brandon from Punkerton Records from Columbus, Ohio. How's it going, Brandon?
It's going good, man. How are you doing?
Doing great, dude. Really appreciate you coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did Punkerton Records form?
It started pretty much during the pandemic, like a lot of people's stuff. I was dealing with some personal things and music was sort of my escape and got really into, collecting vinyl records and yeah, one day a couple of friends approached me about some music of theirs and they were like, "Hey, you should start a record label." I started a label, Punkerton. It wasn't a real label when I was like 16. That's where the name came from. But in 2020, I actually created an actual label. So,
Yeah, that's one of the pros of COVID is that it got a lot of people to branch out and do things that they normally wouldn't do and do things that they've wanted to do for the longest time. So that's it's a blessing in disguise.
I mean, I definitely think it was for some people. I mean, obviously, I think most of us prefer that if that none of that had happened. But I mean, a lot of creative stuff came out, a lot of new ways of doing things. Um, that people, you know, I think a lot of things are recorded remotely now. I, and a lot less being in the studio if you don't have to be. Which some people may have different viewpoints on that, but I think a lot of good music has came out. So
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. That's what I tell people.
I mean, my biggest thing was just the live music. I hated not being able to see that. I mean, sure, there were, I remember just like at any given moment, there were always like 5 to 10 bands I listened to doing like live streams in their rooms or their little studios or whatever, and that was cool. But it doesn't, it's not the same, obviously, as being there in concert and at a show, singing your favorite bands and singing along and the crowd interaction, obviously much better. So.
Yeah, it served its purpose, but just ready for it to all be done.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean that was a brutal wait, right? I mean, I think was a year and a half, essentially, right? Like let's see, or almost a year, or yeah, a little bit over a year. Year and like 3 months, I think. I think it stopped. Everything shut down in like March, and I know in Columbus here, like nothing. In Ohio, nothing opened back up until June of the next year. So I mean, oof, that was brutal.
Part of me feels like it was yesterday, and part of me feels like it was a lifetime ago slash never happened.
Yeah, yeah. That definitely. It does feel like a lifetime ago, but I mean, a lot of the things that were going on are definitely still sort of relevant, and the way that, like I said, people are doing things, and like for me, so the catalyst for the label, unfortunately, about 2 weeks before the pandemic shut down, my dad committed suicide, and so like it jacked me up. And when I say like music got me through things, like that was the big thing, and I was in the middle of a divorce, and but but the 5 year anniversary of my dad was back in February, and and so like now that means like the pandemic, wow, 5 years ago, and um we're still doing a lot of the same habits. And of course, you'll see people at shows, various shows, who are like wearing face masks and stuff sometimes. And you're like, wow, yeah, you're right. Like, did that really happen? Um, but hopefully we don't have to experience that again. So,
Right on, man. So when it comes to influences, who would you say that they are? Like, what labels got you into doing this? Um, yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
so I guess growing up, that sort of was the big thing for the labels. Fat Records, just sort of were kind of it. Like the main one, because like if there was a band on Fat Records, they were coming through, you'd want to go see them, and it didn't even matter who they were if you ever heard of them, and they had the really cool comps. But I really like Asian Man, and as far as like what Punkerton's trying to do, like a sort of the influential one was definitely Asian Man. Um, and then I guess as far as like bands go, my personal like favorites, gosh, it's so varied. Um, I guess some of the top ones would be Gaslight Anthem, Menzingers, Spanish Love Songs. um, Lucero's a real big influence of mine. I mean, I grew up on all the stuff. Like when I first got into punk rock, it was NoFX and Rancid and Dropkick Murphys and all of them. But I guess as I got older, I mean, I'm really really into Spanish love songs. Like that's top songwriting to me. And Make War. I was really into them, or I'm really into them, especially their older stuff. Um, yeah, I guess that would be the main ones. Obviously I listen to music all day, so I don't want to like. I mean, full disclosure, I only listen to either bands that are pitching their music to me, or bands on the label. Anyway, um, like Knives out of Florida, I listen to their album at least once a day, and that thing came out like 6 months ago. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I guess when I'm not listening to something Punkerton related, those would be the go tos.
Bunch of sick bands, sick labels, respect. So if you could work with one of those bands, if you could work with any big band, who would it be?
I mean, if I could do anything with anyone, ideally, I would probably say Spanish love songs. Just even to put out anything from them, I'd reissue something, if that was an option. Um, I don't I after AF Records folded, they have that album Smaltz, which is one of my favorite punk rock records of all time. And I don't know if anybody's picked it up to press it, but I would press that. I would press that in a heartbeat. So Dylan Slocum, if you're listening and you're out there and you hear this, Punkerton Records would love to release that record. If somebody else hasn't picked it up yet, I would put it out on vinyl, whatever you need.
You got my support for that. That's
Yeah, no,
awesome.
that would be killer. There's a song on there. I don't want to mention. I have to mention it because it's called Otis Carl. And when the first time I heard that, like it was right after my dad, all that. And man, that song. And if it comes on now, I bawl like a baby. I don't even care. So
The power of music. That's what I tell people.
yeah, absolutely.
So you're from Columbus, Ohio. How's the punk rock, the alternative scene there? Do you have a favorite band from there? Do you have a favorite venue?
Yeah, I live in Columbus now, and I'm definitely in the scene, but I'm not originally from Ohio, and I've lived sort of all over, and I would say that Columbus scene is definitely unique, in the fact that like admittedly, and I hate to say this, but like the punk scene's very like splintered, and there's a lot of little smaller groups. And there used to be a really big scene here, but it's kind of, I feel like it's in that down phase right now, and hopefully it kind of comes back up. But as far as like the music scene, I mean, the music scene's great. A lot of indie music. I mean, actually there's a little bit of everything in Columbus. But favorite venues, hands down, there's this place called Space Bar. This guy I know, Ace, just bought it from their other owner, and that's awesome. Congratulations to Ace. But that place is awesome because they were one of the few venues to sort of give me a place to throw shows early on when all the other venues weren't, we're messing with Punkerton. So that was great.
That's really sick. Support those that support you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right on, dude. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you as a person. I did this with the other labels and bands everywhere. All
Yeah, let's do it.
right. First one, favorite TV show.
Oh God. Rick and Morty. Or well, now I guess it would be Fallout. Fallout's probably my favorite show. Is that where we're counting as a TV show, right? Like a series?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Fallout. But also, I'm a huge Fallout fan. I actually have a Fallout tattoo from a long time ago. So, like, I don't play video games, but I played that a lot when I was in Afghanistan, and I was obsessed with it slightly. And so when they made it into a show, I was like, "That's awesome." So yeah,
Interesting. I've never heard of it.
Fallout's the most popular. It's one of the most popular video games, literally of all time. It's one of
I'll
the
have to
most
go
best
and
selling.
check it out. I'm slacking.
I mean, I don't play video games anymore, so I don't know. Maybe it's not that popular anymore, but
I normally just stick with like FIFA and NHL and Tony Hawk and games like that. But now I'm gonna have to broaden my horizon.
yeah, I'm pretty stoked about Tony Hawk. Actually, like that's cool that they're bringing all of our childhood stuff back. So
Yeah, when I saw that they were remastering 3 and 4 and like all the bands that were on the original soundtracks are now coming back for the new one, I got really excited. 10-year-old Dave was coming out, like it was sick.
oh yeah, yeah. Like I Tony Hawk 2 was that was it for me, man. That the was like, what is this? It's like a Millen Collin on it and stuff. This was great. That was 2, right? I think Millen Collin was on 2. I don't know. It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, after a while, it all just like blends into one.
I mean, it really does. It really does.
That's awesome. So, if you could be fluent in another language instantly, what language?
Sign language, because I took it in college and I did pretty well, but now I don't remember any of it. I took like 4 years of sign language, but yeah, I don't remember. So anything, it'd be American Sign Language for sure.
Oh, that would be dope. That's a different answer. Like normally people will say like Spanish or like Japanese or whatever.
But yeah, but the thing about sign language is like if someone else knows sign language, like you can communicate and no one will ever hear you, and that could be helpful here in one day.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's an interesting way of looking at it. So, if you had $1 million and you could donate to any charity, which one?
6 feet over. Actually, they're out of Detroit. They're a nonprofit. Very like it's very like their logo is very punk rock. But they it helps with suicide awareness and also with people who whose family members have committed suicide and they're having a hard time sort of dealing with the financial aftermath of that and of course the mental aftermath of that. And we have a comp that we put out, and they were part of one of the nonprofits. And I wasn't familiar with them, but Benny Kapal from the Board of Detectives told me about them, and so we made them one of the beneficiaries. And of all the nonprofits that we donated to, because we donated to 6, they like wrote like a handwritten letter to me, and were like really cool. And yeah, so if I could donate to anybody, that would hands down 6 feet over in Detroit. So
That's really cool. That must have made you feel really, really special.
I mean, it does, because especially coming from the background that I have, but actually it's because yeah, so like it's cool. Like
Oh, that's
they're
sick.
they're they're awesome. Like they like I said, like a lot of places. I mean, I understand. Like if you get a ton of, I mean, I doubt. I don't see the ACLU like writing letters. They got, but they're still small enough, maybe, or maybe they just really, really care about that personal touch with it. But yeah, and we've got another comp coming out that's nonprofit, but at some point I'm gonna do a comp that is just for them. So
I'm sure they're gonna love it and really appreciate it.
they seem really awesome. So hopefully I get to meet them at some point.
Right on, dude. So, if you could go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
Oh gosh, one world leader or person of influence. Um. Oh man, this is difficult because I have a history degree, so I have a lot of options to like choose from. We'll go with Abraham Lincoln, I think.
That's a classic response.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to it, but I don't really want to get too much into the political arena on your show. But yeah, that's who I'd go with.
You're good, dude. Yeah, no, I allow people to to speak their mind on here, and it's I try to make this as chill as possible, as easygoing as possible, because that's just who I am as a person. So yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, my thing is I overthink everything, so it doesn't matter what you ask me. I've got like a million, thought processes going at the same time, and then I talk way too much. So like, yeah, it's it's definitely better when the host can like redirect me and they're like, all right, stop, slow it down. So I've been trying to because I've been doing a few interviews lately where I find myself I'm like, well, I'm going on these tangents. I need to kind of yeah. So
We're a match made in heaven, so it's all good. So, last question: what are some places in Columbus that visitors should check out?
oh man. Okay. There's this giant field of I think it's concrete, but it's just a giant cornfield all made out of concrete. It's like 5 minutes from my house. It's in Dublin, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus. Um, that's the biggest waste of space. I mean, it's huge. It's a huge concrete cornfield. Um, and then another place that people should check out in Columbus. Man, I don't know. Yeah, there's this place called Bridge Park, and it's like this really neat bridge that like, you know, we go and visit sometimes. It's really cool. Um, and then of course the Columbus is the capital of Ohio, so there's always like the state house and stuff. And like now, especially at any given moment, you'll find a big protest. So, that's always fun. But yeah, that's I mean, it's really all I got, I think, for Columbus.
So, when I come out to Columbus, to Ohio, to visit you, you can take me to all those spots.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll give one more. Used Kids Records, down in Columbus and off of Summit Street in Columbus, across the street from this venue called Roomba Cafe. The reason I say Used Kids is because from the get go, I mean, very early on, they would take our records. This band, Lame Ass Dads, they took their record. That was the first record we ever put out. And they're not local. They're from Ohio, but they're from 2 hours away. Because every other, just about, I won't say every, but there is one, the biggest one here would not take our records until we got into distribution. They said, get into distro, sure, we'll take it, but you're a local record label, but these bands aren't local, and we're not going to take your stuff. Wouldn't even let me do consignment. So now that I have distribution, I specifically don't let them take our records, and that's because I'm an asshole, and I don't like that. Like I'm one of those people that like just like they didn't have to do that, but Used Kids they did, and they rock. And Greg at Used Kids is awesome, and he's always taking our stuff, and he's let our bands do in stores. So yeah, shout out to them.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting up a little bit, and the support means the world to me.
I appreciate you asking questions that didn't have anything to do with the record label. That was cool.
Yeah, no, I'm all about shaking things up a little bit and keeping things fresh. And like for me, it's all about like learning more about like the background, like where different people come from and what they like to do when they're not doing their band or their label, or whatever. I mean, that stuff like matters a lot to me.
No, that's awesome. That's a great approach.
So I really appreciate you opening up a little bit and giving me some insight.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. So for the people that are going to watch this interview later, where can they find you you guys at?
Instagram, at Punkerton Records. We're big on threads for some reason. We got huge. We went viral on threads. So at Punkerton Records on threads, we do a lot of posting there. PunkertonRecords.com. That's where you can get all of our band's merch. Facebook, Punkerton Records. Linktree, Punkerton Records. So pretty easy, but yeah, that's where everything is. So
Do what the man says. Go to the websites, buy merch, buy music, support local labels, and support local bands. You're killing it. You're doing a great job. Keep up the great work.
appreciate it. You're killing it too. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Peace.